Hello and welcome to Podcast Bites by India Law LLP. I am your host Jigar Trivedi, and in today's episode, we'll delve into recent Supreme Court judgment that clarifies the scope of sureties liability under a contract of guarantee. We focus on the judgment delivered on February 27, 2026 in Bhagya Lakshmi Cooperative Bank Limited versus Babaldas Amratam Patel and others, where the court addressed whether guarantor's liability extends to amount beyond the originally sanctioned loan, especially in cases involving unauthorized variation in the underlying contract. Let's begin with the background. The dispute arose from a cash credit facility of rupees 4 lakh rupees extended by Bhagya Lakshmi Cooperative Bank Limited to Messrs. Darshak Trading Company. To secure this facility, two individuals stepped in as guarantors, executing contracts of guarantee in favor of the bank. However, the situation took a turn when the borrower allegedly withdrew funds far in excess of the sanctioned limit, reportedly the involvement of certain bank officials. Upon default by the borrower, the bank sought to initiate recovery proceeding for approximately an amount of rupees 26.95 lakhs from the borrower as well as from the guarantors. Now here where the things gets interesting. The adjudicating authority held the borrower liable for the entire amount but dismissed the claim against the guarantors. On appeal, the tribunal partially reversed this, holding the guarantors liable but only up to rupees 4 lakh rupees. The originally sanctioned amount, however, the High Court later took a different view, holding that the guarantors must either be liable for the entire debt or nothing at all. It rejected the idea of splitting liability. This led to the bank approach to Supreme Court. The key issue before the Supreme Court was whether a surety's liability can be restricted to originally sanctioned amount when the creditors permit the borrower to exceed that limit without the surety's consent, or whether, as held by the High Court, the surety must either be held liable for the entire amount or be discharged altogether. This required an interpretation of Section 133 and 139 of the Indian Contract Act 1872. The Supreme Court undertook a detailed analysis of the law governing guarantees. It first emphasized the settled principle that a surety's liability is coextensive with that of the principal debtor, unless otherwise agreed, but clarified that this principle is not absolute. The court then examined 133 section of the Indian Contract Act, which provides that any variance in the terms of the contract between the creditor and the principal debtor made without the surety's consent discharges the surety, but not only in respect of the transaction subsequently to such variance. Applying this to the case, the court held that permitting the borrower to withdraw amounts beyond 4 lakh rupees amounts with clear variance in the contract made without the knowledge or consent of the guarantors. As a result, the guarantors could be held liable for those excess amount. However, the court emphasized that such discharge is not total. The guarantors would continue to remain liable for the original sanctioned amount of rupees 4 lakh rupees along with the applicable interest. Rejecting the High Court's all or nothing approach, the Supreme Court clarified that Section 133 mandates a proportional framework where the surety is discharged only to the extent of liability arising after the contractual variation. The guarantors had also argued that they should be discharged under Section 139, which deals with situations where the creditor's action impaired the surety's eventual remedy against the borrower. However, the court rejected this argument. It held that while the bank's conduct may have affected the position of the guarantor, there was no evidence that their eventual remedy against the borrower has been impaired, and this impairment is a necessary condition for invoking Section 139. Therefore, Section 139 was held inapplicable in this case. Let's break down the key takeaways from this judgment. First, a surety cannot be bound beyond the terms of the original guarantee. Second, any unilateral variation in the contract by the creditors without the surety's consent limits the surety's liability. Third, such discharge is not absolute. It applies only to the transaction subsequent to the variations. And finally, Section 139 requires actual impairment of the surety's remedy, not just a change in circumstances. From a practical standpoint, this judgment is significantly for both lenders and guarantors' point of view. For lenders, it underscores the importance of maintaining transparency and obtaining consent before altering the loan terms. For guarantors, it reaffirms that liability is not open ended and is strictly confined to what they originally agreed to. It also highlights the importance of carefully drafting guarantee agreements, particularly in case involving continuing on or fluctuating credit facilities. That's all for today's episode. This judgment reinforces a key principle. A guarantor's liability cannot be expanded beyond what was agreed without their consent. Thank you for tuning into today's podcast Bites by India Law LLP. I am Jigar Trivedi and I look forward to bringing you more incisive and insightful perspective on the evolving landscape of the law. Until next time, stay informed and stay sharp.